Welcome, everybody. It's Elisa, and welcome to the Plant Power Challenge. So this is 5 days, and I promise you I'm going to try and be as short as possible. My goal is to keep these morning sessions less than 15 minutes. So hopefully I'll be able to do that. So that's the plan. So 5 to 15 minutes each morning. So super short, super manageable. And hopefully either you can catch them here live in my Peace Run yoga group, or you can catch them live if you would rather dial in over Zoom. I can get you the information. And a really big important thing is if you sign up, I can get you a copy of the workbook that I'm going to share with you in just a moment. So again, 5 quick days designed to help you incorporate more fruits and vegetables into your day, into your diet. And we all know that this is super important because when we're eating more whole foods, our bodies are better able to take those nutrients. So it's much better to have, say, a potato than French fries, or even, like a bag of chips where they've been highly processed. So our goal is to have, foods that are less processed, as whole and as close to, the way they started out to begin with. And of course, that's usually fruits and vegetables. So a couple of things that I wanted to share with you too. There is going to be a drawing at the end of the challenge. So the ways that you can get an entry for the drawing is to either comment on this video by 9 o'clock Eastern each day. So I'll be looking at who comments on the videos, who sends me a direct message also before 9 p.m. Eastern. Or if you'd like, you can send me an email. So if you're watching this recording later and you're not on Facebook, do not worry. You don't have to be on Facebook, or you don't have to be available during the day. You can send me an email anytime, again, before 9 p.m., because that's when I'm looking at who's entered. Now, if you do it after 9 p.m., it'll count for the next day. So just wanted to let you know about that. So we'll have a drawing at the very end. And if you're using the Zoom link, if you're joining me live on Zoom, the link will be live, or the same link all week long. So it'll be the same link. You don't need a different link. So again, I mentioned a little bit of a workbook. So I'm going to send you some things, and I'll show you the workbook really quickly. Let me share my screen with you. Find it. I had it up. There we go. So this is the workbook, and you can see it's a really short workbook. It's not mandatory. It's just some tools that are going to help you, not just this week, but down the road. So one thing I always do with my clients is have them figure out what is your what, your why, your anchor. So why are you doing this? Why did you decide you need a little, challenge, or you need to add more plants into your life? So is there something that you're trying to accomplish? And again, when we do a challenge like this, it's 5 days, but we want it to, hopefully carry on further down the road. So you might say you want to feel less bloated and more energized. And then, why do you want to feel less bloated and more energized? Because maybe you want to be more active with your kids, or you want to go hiking with your partner, or you want to run a 5K, or you want to climb Mount Everest. So whatever it is, your deeper why. And it's got to be pretty deep, because if it's just kind of shallow, like, I want to feel better. Well, why do you want to feel better? Get to the emotion. So that way, when things get tricky, or you're tempted, or, you're just not feeling as motivated, you've got that deeper why to keep you going. And from that, you can create an anchor statement, which I often kind of compare to, an affirmation or a mantra. So yours could be, I nourish my body with healthy foods and love my body from the inside out. Or you could pick something else. It's entirely up to you. And again, this worksheet is completely optional, but I think it can be very helpful to, get down to what your what and your why is. And I'm just going to show you these just really quickly, because again, we're trying to keep this call kind of short. I've got some healthy eating guidelines that you can look at, things like having your biggest meal in the middle of the day, chewing your food very well. Now these, you might not think of them as plant-based, but again, they're ways that you're going to get the biggest bang for your nutritional buck. So whether it's, the actual dollar, or, what you're putting in your body, you want to make it count, because if you're eating good food, you want your body to be able to get the biggest benefit out of it. Because sometimes we can eat great food and not really digest it as well because of other things that are going on in our lives. And then this is the one that I really wanted to show you, which is the weekly meal planner. I really recommend this. This is a great tool to help you have a plan, because when you have a plan, it makes things so much easier. And it also helps eliminate decision fatigue. If you don't have a plan, if you've had a long day, if you've had a rough day, and, you get home from work and you're kind of, stressed out and, not sure what you're going to eat. It's so much easier to reach for, some junk food or to, make a phone call and get something that may not be prepared with love or as healthy as you would like to have. Like maybe you start out the day with great intentions, and then by the end of the day, after you've made so many decisions and just gotten stressed out with other things, it's harder to make a good decision. So when you have a plan, it can make it so much easier. And again, totally optional, but I think this is a great thing to do, like maybe on a Saturday or a Sunday with your family. Put it on the fridge, and then that way you're not kind of like, what are we having today? You already have an idea. And the cool thing is too, because this is a plan, you can, change things around. You could have a date night day on here. You could have an open day where, maybe you let your kids pick something, but having a plan makes it, that much easier. It gets you, ahead of the game. And then there's also a food and mood journal. So this is a page from the food and mood journal that I send out. You can put in today's date, what you've had, your drinks and snacks, as well as your meals. And again, it's a good way to keep track of what you're eating, because a lot of times you can, kind of underestimate what you're eating. You think, oh, I didn't eat that much today. But if you write it down, you start to realize, okay, maybe I've had a little more than I thought, or also having the opportunity to associate how you're feeling with what you're eating. So are you getting triggered? And is that, the reason you're reaching for a snack? Or are you feeling a certain way? Are you stressed out? Are you sad, happy, glad? And, putting that in as well to see the associations. Here's some, recommendations as far as things that you could buy, for your grocery list. These are just, ideas to get you started. And then again, getting started. And I mentioned at the very beginning, making your plan. So let me see, there might be one more sheet, which is the limiting beliefs, higher truths one. And this one is where you might think, well, I'm not the kind of person who eats that kind of food, or I can't eat a lot of vegetables. I don't like vegetables. So that might be your limiting belief that's holding you back. So what is the higher truth that's trying to emerge? And it might be, I'm becoming the kind of person who eats more vegetables. I'm becoming the kind of person who goes to the grocery store and walks around and looks at what's there and, just kind of, gets an idea of maybe I'd like to try that thing. I don't even know what it is, but let me try it. And, maybe I can look up a recipe and see what good things I can make with that. And maybe you'll like it, maybe you won't, but just letting your intuition guide you as you try something new. So again, if you sign up, all you have to do is send me a direct message. I will get you the workbook, so you'll have that, so you can print it out or you can do it online, whatever you want to do. The other things I wanted to share with you. So today is Monday, and this is actually how I first started my plant-based journey, was Meatless Monday. And I became plant-based probably about 10 years ago. And I had first heard people talk about Meatless Monday. And I thought it was a really cool thing. And I would look at ways I would just, look at what I was eating and then try to avoid meat on Monday because it was Meatless Monday. And from that, I started to realize things that I, was eating that maybe I didn't realize were meat based, like, for instance, having vegetable soup and that it might have beef broth or something. But so that was my first part of my journey. And I think that's a really awesome way to get started, is to just, pick something small. You don't have to go from eating, a highly processed diet or eating a lot of meat to, okay, I'm vegan forevermore. And, I think that's where sometimes, vegans get a bad rap, because sometimes some vegans are very, let's do this completely. And that's awesome. Everybody has to follow their own journey. And I am vegan. And I think, for me, it was probably the best thing that I've ever done. I'm super grateful for it, but you have to find what works for you. So if starting with Meatless Monday or starting with this 5-day challenge is the way to do it, then I say, go for it and, be on your path. Don't worry about being on anybody else's path. Don't worry about, having to eat the way that I eat or anybody else. So, find the small change that you can make, something that's sustainable. And then if you, just progress, maybe make a 1% change over time. I know that sounds really tiny, but over a year, if you made a 1% change, at the end of the year, that's a 37% improvement. So you could either go up that 37% or down. And that is, really entirely up to you. So again, I think Meatless Monday is a great way to go. You can start thinking about things that you can do to incorporate, more fruits, more vegetables, more grains into your diet. And that's, some of the things we're going to talk about in the rest of the week. I'm going to share with you some really healthy and delicious swaps. I mean, I love to eat, so I want to eat food that tastes good. We're going to look at some swaps that you can make for some of your favorite foods that, could be, more meat-based. We're also going to look at things for dairy. And the funny thing is, when I became vegan, and actually even to this day, one of the things I hear the most from people is that I could go plant-based, but I don't want to give up cheese. That's like the biggest thing that people don't want to give up. And there is kind of a reason to it, because there's, the casein in cheese makes you really want it. But there are some amazing plant-based cheeses and recipes that I use, in my meals that to me are second to none. They're fantastic. And I mean, there are some store-bought cheeses you can buy. You can start out with those. You don't have to make your own, but I've found some really good recipes that, we make things like macaroni and cheese or, all kinds of other stuff. And, it's a really good swap. And that's the thing, is finding the swap, something that is good, that you enjoy, that is, equal or better. And then it has the bonus of the extra nutrition for you. And it's, going to help you, not, harm you in any way. And of course, we know things like with, meat and some of the dairy, that there are concerns about heart disease, high cholesterol, high blood pressure. So things that, can come about by what you're eating. And as an Ayurvedic health coach, that's one of the big things that I focus on, is looking at the things that we're eating that, can take us out of balance. And, what can we do instead to bring us into balance? And it can be a tricky thing because, we grow up eating a certain way, and you eat, the way your family ate, and, it's just what you've learned. And so you keep doing it. And, unfortunately, sometimes we notice that we're going in a path that maybe your parents or your other family members had to deal with any of those diseases, like high blood pressure, cholesterol, heart disease, diabetes, anything from chronic, inflammation, aches and pains. And now you're dealing with it, and it just seems like, okay, well, this is just hereditary, or this is my genetics. And it's not necessarily so. A lot of times it might just have to do with the foods that they ate, and now the foods that you're eating. So it's looking at those little tweaks, those little swaps that you can make on a daily basis, and, finding what works for you. So you don't have to pick all of the things. And I'm going to share a bunch of tips with you this week. And the really cool thing is, you might just focus on one or two. You don't have to adopt all of them. You don't have to, like I said, you don't have to go from eating, steak every night for dinner to having, just salads. It's entirely up to you where on the spectrum you choose to be. Where do you want to be? And it might just be adding in more of those fruits and vegetables. And, I mentioned that food planner. The cool thing with the food planner is you can ask yourself, where in this meal can I, sneak in some more vegetables? And it might be just having a side of broccoli, or it might be like putting something in the meal, like adding more greens to your pasta. And actually, that is one of my favorite tips. And I'm going to share that with you right now as like one of my best ways to beef up. Yeah, I said beef up a meal, to, spruce up a meal so that you feel like you're satisfied, is to put a bunch of greens on your plate or in your bowl before you put the pasta. Or you could even cook the greens, like the spinach or the kale, in with the pasta. And then that way you can have a serving that looks, that satisfying, like it's going to be a filling serving, but it's, less of the pasta, which is going to be, more highly caloric, more densely caloric. And it's also, it's more of the processed food. So this way you're sneaking in more of the vegetables, you're getting, everything else that you want. You're getting the flavor, you're getting the taste, and you're getting the nutrition from the greens. So that's something that I do when we make pasta, is I usually put a really nice bed of spinach or kale down before I put anything on top. And that's a great way for me to get the satisfying serving. That's my number one tip for today. But we're at our time, and I'm really glad that you joined me today. So again, please feel free, send me a direct message. I'll get you the workbook. And for anybody that you'd like to recommend to join us for the rest of the week, you can tag them below. That's actually an extra way to get an entry into my drawing at the end of the week, is tag a friend or you can send them an email. And if they join, we'll get you the extra entry as well. But if you've liked what you've heard so far, I really hope you join me the rest of the week. And you can also send me a DM if you want to know more about other ways that you could work with me, because I mentioned that I do the Ayurvedic health coaching. And really what I'm here for is to make, but to help you feel more balanced, help you find the things that can create more balance for you, because we're all individuals, we're all unique, and we all have our own way of, getting in or out of balance. So the things that work for me may or may not work for you, but it's a really cool thing finding that, that tipping point, what helps you find balance. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will be seeing you tomorrow morning, again, the same time, 9 a.m. Eastern, and we'll be talking about food swaps. So I will look forward to talking to you then. Namaste.